everybody, welcome to my review-ish of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If you've seen any of my other review-ishes, you know that they're kind of mainly just rants on whatever movie or now show that I'm, doing a review-ish over. But this time I wanted to do something a little more professional, a little more streamlined, I guess. So how I'm going to be doing it is I'm first going to be basically going, and this is going to sound weird, but just hear me out, character by character, of like giving my thoughts on them, like their story arcs throughout the whole thing, like what I thought of the character itself. Through that, I'll be kind of giving my thoughts on the show, some of the flaws with the show, some things I didn't like about it, because it's all, the characters make the show. Without good characters, you don't have a good show, and I feel like by going character by character, I'm really putting, emphasis on my points of all why I don't like this part or I don't like that part. Anyways, and after that, I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the whole show as a whole. A lot of the bits and pieces I'll be referencing back to when I talked about the characters individually, so it all kind of, makes sense. And in case you don't, follow or subscribe to my second channel, Extra Cell Bomb. It's kind of a shitpost of a channel, but what it is I talk about, that's where I did my episode by episode. That's the series I have for other shows, but, I'm keeping that at the end because I feel like some of those are 3 minutes long, which is just going to make this part longer. So the very end of this, it's just going to be episode by episode. That is basically just my first initial thoughts. It's 3 a.m. when I recorded all those. I just finished watching the show. So all that out of the way, this took 2 minutes to explain. First, let's of course just jump right into it. Let's get into my...
Don't let the flame die out!
I wanted to put this quick little segment in here to basically talk about the anticipation for the show. I think in the previous video talking about, when this was supposed to come out in 2020, that in the year of what was supposed to get in 2020, i.e. this WandaVision, Black Widow, this was what I was looking forward to most. It had me hooked. It seemed to be what was going to be following up Avengers Endgame the most. And I think that's what we all wanted to see, what is a world with, the blip happening. And we got that from the show, but I'll talk more about that later. WandaVision was a show that I wasn't really looking forward to, but I was really surprised by it because I basically had zero expectations. But this was a show that I was actually really looking forward to. But it's kind of funny because then we got it after WandaVision. And WandaVision, especially with its finale and how it, ran things, how it changed the community of Marvel. And I think it was really smart because we were expecting something huge, something big, and we got something big, but we didn't get something huge. Does that make sense? So then when going into this, we were still expecting a lot, but not as much. And thankfully, by doing that, I feel like we didn't lower our expectations. We more of lowered what we should have our expectations to. I'm trying to explain it, but it's kind of complicated. We all know about the Mephisto stuff, but to go into this, not expecting less, but I don't really know how to explain it, but it was a pleasant surprise. It's almost like WandaVision made me expect less out of this show, which was good for this show. Does that make sense? I was still looking forward to it, and it wasn't even that I wasn't looking forward to it as much. I was still looking forward to it, but I don't know how to describe it. I just wanted to kind of get that off my chest. So now we can actually get into, the characters. So first up is Sam Wilson. So I know the show is called Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I'll talk more about this in the Bucky Barnes segment, but it is so obviously way more about the Falcon, which I think it works. They write the Falcon... I'm just going to call him Sam Wilson. They write Sam as an interesting enough character where he does hold the show. But they kind of promise, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but it is mainly about the Falcon. And something about that is, okay, let's talk about it. So after the blip he's now working with, I think it's the Air Force, which that's a natural thing. One thing I want to talk about is I really like how they handled him taking on the role of Captain America in the beginning of it. How he didn't just throw it away, throw the shield away, whatever, I don't want this. But he laid it to rest, is the best way I can describe it. He wasn't I don't want to be Captain America, but it's not that he didn't want someone else to be Captain America, but how he respectfully did it. He didn't just toss it aside. He respectfully got rid of it. It's one of those belongs in a museum kind of situations. He laid the thing to rest. Of course, being about the Falcon, something I also want to talk about, and I will also go over in a later segment, but is his relationship with the villain. I think her name is Karli. I can't even remember her name. I'll talk more about that later. But the fact that I'm going to say this, I'm kind of tired of sympathetic villains in Marvel. I get it. We need to relate with the villain so we can, understand them more. I get it. And at first, when it was like, oh, I agree with what you're doing, I just don't agree with how you're doing it. Okay, that makes sense for this character that they've made. And it didn't really come full circle until the end when he had the whole, conversation with the government people, which I'll talk about that later. I keep saying that. But yeah, his relationship with Karli was an interesting one. One thing that I wish they would have built more on is him and John Walker. It seemed more like Bucky and John Walker had a relationship, or like, you know what I mean by relationship, than him. It should be, whoa, like, you're what I was supposed to be, but not really. It should have been Sam is learning from John. They still kind of did that, but not in like, I'm not saying not in an obvious way, but not in a, like, they did it on purpose kind of way. I feel like John should have been the awakening that, like, if I'm going to be Captain America, I can't do it like how America wants me to be. I have to do it like I want it to be. And another big thing with the show, and I'll talk about it here rather than in its own segment because it's related with the Falcon, is the race stuff. Most times in shows, not like this, but most times in shows, race is, for lack of better words, white bad. And this isn't just coming from, oh, I'm a white male, I feel targeted. No, but that is how shows operate, because most shows don't want to dive deep into race. They say, they have a character who's black, and they're like, yeah, people are racist to me, and they'll show it like once, like maybe he was bullied or something. Yeah, that stuff just, it doesn't work. And with this show, I said of course they're going to bring up race, but I said the only way that it's going to fully work is if they straight up say, being a black Captain America is not bad, but like being a black Captain America will not maybe get a bad reaction out of America, but get a big reaction out of America. And I said, if they don't just, they have to say it. They have to acknowledge it. They can't be like, yeah, maybe me being Captain America is a bad idea. They have to straight up say, me as a black man will get a reaction out of America. Maybe good, most likely bad. And I was like, if they don't do that, it's not going to work. And they did it multiple times. They went all in with it. And because, Marvel, it's Disney. It's a big company. So they kind of have to I'm not saying they have to go with the racists, but I'm saying they kind of have to be, in the middle. Like, oh, you can have, here's Carol Danvers, but, we also got to keep Spider-Man. Here's your Black Panther, but, we got Thor, kind of situation. But with this, they really went all in on it. I love the scene where he's training with the shield, and Bucky is like, yeah, me and Steve are, like, naive to think, like, that it'd just be a smooth transition. He basically said, yeah, it was a total dick move to kind of make you Captain America, and we acknowledge that. One thing that I want to talk about is people are like, oh, Steve Rogers so unrealistic if he came out of the ICP racist. Dog, he hates bullies. Racists are bullies. Are you aware of that? Are you stupid? Yes. I don't know. That's a slight tangent. But no, he made an amazing character. I'm going to talk more about the whole him becoming Captain America stuff later on in its own segment. But I do like how at the beginning they kind of made you like think, oh, is he not going to take up the mantle? Right. Now this is something I'll also talk about in the John Walker segment. Oh my god. But how it's obvious that he was going to become Captain America by the end of it, but it almost made you believe that it was going to be in like a weird way. Like he was going to take back the shield and maybe not become Captain America here, maybe in its own movie or Avengers flick or something like that. So Sam Wilson was handled really well in the show, being the main character he was. So let's move on. I keep promising I'll talk about stuff. So let's move on to, the guy in the title who's not really a main, you know what I mean, Bucky Barnes. I realize that one of the biggest problems with the show is missed potential. I'll get into that in a second. So Bucky Barnes in the MCU has been totally underutilized. Like, holy crap. And this show kind of carries the torch in a funny way that he's being underutilized. Literally, in Winter Soldier, I think he had, 4 lines. He didn't, speak at all. He was a big part, and it was, but it's mainly, the Avengers stuff. And I think a big problem to do with that is really shown in Civil War, is that he's kind of attached himself to Steve Rogers. Does that make sense? He really is just Captain America's sidekick. And that's a big problem for who is mowing their lawn. He really has become Captain America's sidekick. But in this show, in the first episode especially, it is miles improvement. The fact that he's dealing with PTSD from being this, brainwashed assassin and how he's dealing with that. The fact that he's making amends. He's basically having a goal with no it's hard to explain, but it's so smart how basically what he's doing is meaningless to him, but he's trying to tell his mind that it is meaningful. It is so good. And then how he like relates to, or how he goes on the date and stuff. It's so good how we're seeing him trying to adapt to regular society, but he just can't. You know, how he's hanging out with, you know, the old guy because, well, of course because of the assassination stuff, but also because he's gonna relate to older guys more, you know, because he is like 106 years old or whatever. It's really good. And then the second episode comes in and it just drops the ball with him. It's not that he's not utilized, it's just that then his goal of why he's trying to stop the Flag Smashers is kind of weird. Like, I get it that he's helping Sam, you know, and he's mainly just talking to Sam to talk about the shield. And it's really smart how they kind of attach him to the shield. Like, hey, and the scene, of course, the scene with him and Sam in the therapy room is really smart. But then they take him out of therapy and his character just kind of, I don't know, it just really felt like he was just there the whole time. You know, like, it made sense why he was there, but it just felt like he was just there. Like, this show is called Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and they keep up the race stuff, and him, you know, Falcon, Sam Wilson's, you know, whole character arc in this is accepting to be Captain America, you know, how he's going to be his own Captain America. But Bucky doesn't get that, and I feel the biggest missed potential is right there with the White Wolf. And let me explain this. So, they allude to it, you know, in the show. He's like, actually, it's the White Wolf, you know. It's like, what? But I feel like it would have been an awesome parallel for Bucky. Obviously, he's trying to get rid of the Winter Soldier name. You know, I am no longer the Winter Soldier. He's trying to get rid of that, like, not forget that part of his life, but just, you know, make it obsolete, you know. Trying to not make it surround his new life. And that's really clever, you know? So, I think what his journey should have been was trying to, you know, because Sam's journey is, you know, trying to accept the role of Captain America. Like, that's a big shoes to step in, you know, got to make it his own type of deal. But then Bucky's could have been trying to get away from his past, you know, his past identity. So it's kind of almost kind of a flip of Sam's, like a clever flip. You know, and then at the end, you know how it does the whole Captain America and the Winter Soldier, you know, how it changes the title? Well, it could have been so much better and been Captain America and the White Wolf. So, like, they both show growth. They both show... The easiest way to show that a character has grown is to give them, like, new identity like that. It's just so clever. It's right there. Like, it's just missed potential. Now, I don't mean that Bucky's character was bad. I actually really enjoyed him. The interactions between him and Sam were fun. Him and Zemo, we'll go over that in a minute. He didn't have, like, really any connection with the main villain, Karli. He did have somewhat of, like, just... not even a rivalry, but just a hatred to John Walker, so that was fine. But he really, other than Zemo and Sam, he doesn't have, like, any connections to any other characters, which works fine for him, you know. But like I said, it would just been so much better. And I get it, maybe they don't want to do something with a White Wolf, you know, but it would have been nice if after this, he would have escaped being a Captain America character. Now, what do I mean by that? You know how, like, Rhodey is an Iron Man character, and, you know, stuff like that? Or, like, Jane Foster is a Thor character, but they can still show up in crossover stuff. Well, this could have been signifying, hey, like, maybe he could have went, I know the Chadwick Boseman situation and Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever. I'm not saying make him the new star. Don't replace the black man with a white man. That would have been awful. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that you could have made him a supporting cast in the Black Panther, like, side of the Marvel Universe. That would have been, like, real clever, you know? Separate him from Captain America. You know, at the end, in the finale, he could have been like, hey, you know, are you going to help me, are you going to help the new Captain America? And he's like, I'd love to, call if you need help, but I'm no longer Captain America's sidekick. You know, I'm the White Wolf or whatever. We don't even have to see, like, a costume or anything. I just feel like they should have leaned more into a transformation. Who knows? I'm not a writer. That couldn't work for me. But I'm not saying that he had bad character in this. I'm just saying it could have been better. And and comparing it to the past MCU, this is phenomenal. Phenomenal. God, it's amazing. I just feel like it should have been called, like, I don't know. The title isn't misleading or anything. It's just, it could have been better, you know. Now, let's get on to the best character. You've been hit by a smooth criminal. So can we just talk about how, like, funny it is that we got, like, I think it's like an hour-long cut of, like, Zemo dancing. I don't know. But anyway, so Baron Zemo, let's talk about the history of this guy real quick. So in Civil War, and I just recently rewatched Civil War not that long ago, And even before the series, when I didn't rewatch it, I never found him. He was an interesting character for what he did, but it felt like he played the role that he was made for. He was an interesting character, interesting enough in Civil War, but I was kind of interested in what they were going to do with him. And in all of the marketing, they kind of hyped him up as the main villain. Like, oh, Baron Zemo's returning, and look, he's got his mask and whatnot. Because they really didn't promote John Walker at all. And they, strangely enough, didn't promote Karli, the actual main villain. I get why not John Walker, keep it a secret. New Captain America, it's a big reveal, it's nice. But, like, they didn't even show Karli's face in any of the trailers or anything. Why is that like a big deal? Anyways, so it was kind of hyped up as the main villain. So then when we're not seeing him, I think it was for the first 2 episodes or so, it's kind of like, well, what's going on here? It's kind of weird. We got to see John Walker before we saw Baron Zemo. But then, oh my god, then bring him in. I haven't talked about it yet because I was going to wait for this segment. I love the trio, Sam Wilson, Bucky, and Zemo. It is perfect. How, like, Sam is like the leader of the group who's like upset with Zemo all the time, and like upset that Bucky brought Zemo, and then Bucky kind of treats him in the weirdest way to describe it, like a pet. He's like, oh come on, he'll be nice, we need him, because they both know that they kind of need Zemo. And then Zemo's like this overconfident, like, and then Bucky like hates Zemo for obvious reasons, and then he's like overconfident, Zemo is, about the whole situation, like he's got a whole handle on everything. It's just, it works so well. The best scene that like fully upfronts this is the one where he's talking about the song, and he's like, it is the perfect, of African American culture, or whatever he says, and then Sam Wilson was like, he's out of line. He's right, but he's out of line, or he's out of line. Whatever. It's the perfect scene to like describe what I'm trying to talk about. Why these 3 work so well. When sitting down thinking about what I'm going to talk about with Zemo, I realized there's really not much to talk about. He's just a really, really good character. I like that they used him a perfect amount. I like that they didn't bring him back in some dramatic way in the finale. He was, they locked him up after because that just makes the most reasonable sense. Like after, he served his purpose, it's obvious that they're setting him up for something else, whether it be Thunderbolts, Dark Avengers, whatever. But, and now this show, just like all Marvel shows, has made me interested in this character. That's something really good about television, is you have more time to work with characters. So like in a movie, you may have an interesting character, but in a show, you can take that interesting character and make them so much better. Zemo is definitely the best well-written character. With almost every other character, I can point something out where it's like has some sort of missed potential or some major flaw that just makes me not want to make it. But with Zemo, there's really nothing. They used him perfectly, and that's probably why this is the shortest segment of the character. He's just the perfect character. I don't know. He just really works well in the show, and he works well off the other characters. So, and I like that his goals are the same as Sam and Bucky in a similar way. That he's not after them, because he's not just some mustache twirling villain. He's like, yeah, I agree with you guys. Like, let me help y'all. I have a common goal, and never backstabs them, which is so clever. Like, they could have had a whole double cross. Oh, I may not be working for them, but I'm evil. Ha. But they didn't have that, so major respect. Yeah, that's all I can say about Zemo. It's just a really well-written character. Now let's talk about a really badly written character. Not the worst. Somehow not the worst. Karli. I think her name is Karli. If her name's not Karli, I'm gonna feel stupid.
This first song is called A World on Fire.
So looking over my notes here, I thought I had more to say about, I think it's Karli Morgenthau, I don't know. But all I can really say is she's a badly written character. So in this segment, I'm also just going to be kind of talking about the Flag Smashers as a whole. So originally their plan is to reunite the world, because during the blip, like the whole age where, half the universe was gone, they say that they kind of imply the weirdest like way I can compare it is like a 9/12 situation, like how how America was the day after 9/11, how we were all united and stuff. They kind of imply that the world was like that, where it's like countries came together and supported each other. Rhodey in episode 1 kind of mentions is that like governments fell. So I figured, thinking back on it, it's like, oh, they're trying to do a thing where it's like, in reality, governments were falling, so the people had to come together, so it was like bad, but in their eyes, it was all good. But no, They don't really run with that, clever idea where they're not wrong, but at the same time their views are just skewed. No, their plan is to like reunite the world, which okay makes sense. People were they imply that they're like happier during the blip, but maybe it's one of those things where it's like there's no way because like they had family members and stuff all dead and stuff. But whatever. So I can work with like, oh, they're trying to reunite the world like it was during the blip and all. But then they go all psycho. Like she like blows up a hospital or something. Okay, and I know that there was that one side plot about vaccines or some illness that was cut because of COVID, but we're not talking about like what could have been good. We're talking about what we were presented with. You could have had it in the show, no big deal. But anyways, that's the last time I'm mentioning that subplot because it kind of comes up later. But last time I'm mentioning that, I'm reviewing what we have, and what we have is that Karli switches her morals on a dime. She like blows up a hospital, and even the teammates are like, "Whoa, what the fuck was that about? Why'd you just do that?" She's like, "I don't even remember like what her deal with that was. Like they're following us," and then the whole thing becomes that they're after Captain America, like himself. It's like what? And then they end up in New York trying to, I don't know, destroy the government who's signing a law to like let people who came back go back to their houses and stuff, which would put a lot of people in danger, And it just, her plan and the Flag Smashers' plan just doesn't make sense. Like, it's already kind of messed up, and then they just keep going with it, and they change, and they change, and they keep changing. It's like, dude, pick a route, pick a lane. You're all over the place, And she is just not an interesting character. And this is going to be, I'm trying to explain this the best way I can. The way that the actress, like, talks, I'm not talking about her accent, but her accent kind of emphasizes how cocky in nature her speech is. I'm not trying to be racist in saying that her accent is annoying or anything. It just emphasizes the fact that she's, like, really condescending when she talks, and it's super annoying. Like, just every time she'd show up on screen, I'd like roll my eyes, like, oh great, we gotta deal with this. And I hate characters who are like that, because I don't know, she's just not a very memorable character. I can't remember a single line in like the whole show that she gave. Just super nothing. She's badly written, and it's not even a case like other characters where I could, like Bucky, how I explained, like, oh, he was good, but here's how he could have been better. Here's some potential that you could have went with. No, I have no idea what you could have done with this. It's so bad. Like, and it's at some point they seem like they want to make John Walker the main villain, but like, and if they want to do that, then have these people actually be like. So then it's an interesting concept where it's Falcon and Bucky versus the actual terrorist group, and then John Walker and his people who are supposed to be like the actual government, but then they're corrupt, kind of deal. But they don't go with that route either. They try to make one of those sympathetic villain moments, where she like Sam relates to her, and that's, it's smart, it's clever. I'm not smart, it's clever. Don't know why I said that. It's okay, yeah, I get why they're doing it, but it just doesn't work because she like blew up a hospital. This is gonna sound really weird, but I'm happy they killed her off. That sounds dark and morbid, but it's just like I didn't want to see more of her character, like, at all. Some writers and stuff would have brought her back later as like a redemption arc kind of thing, like, oh, now she's an empowering woman hero or something like that. But I think her dying was a good way to go out with the series, but the way she died was really bad, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So yeah, nothing character. How did I talk about her for 5 minutes? Super boring. Let's go on to the. She was boring, like, as a character, but we're about to talk about the worst character. So I know I've kind of been hyping up throughout this whole video that Sharon Carter is just the worst character ever, and that she completely ruins the show, and that I hate her so extremely much. And in all honesty, I like, she's just kind of, once again, just a nothing character for me. It's obvious that she was supposed to be more involved in the show. But let's get the obvious out of the way. She's the power broker? What? Why? Why is she? It doesn't make sense. You see a lot of the fan base, we're like, what? Like, that doesn't make sense. It's only been like 6 months. There's no way that she's already like the crime syndicate. And she was proven in Avengers Endgame that she was, blipped out. Which, if they didn't do that, it would have made sense that, like, and then that the Flag Smashers are kind of a good rival to her in a way. I'll get to that in a second. I don't know. It's just so dumb. She should not have been the power broker. Because the power broker is something you could have saved for a later date, and it would have been phenomenal. Like, you could have built up the power broker, maybe not as, like, the new Thanos or anything, but something to slowly build up. Or, like, they're having a new Captain America film, so you could have, the Torres guy. He's, connected to the power broker, and how he turns into the Falcon later. And there's so many lines you could go with the power broker. And it's obvious that they're setting her up for something, post-credit scene, that she's, maybe it's Secret Invasion, who knows, maybe it's the next Avengers thing, who knows, but I don't know. In this show, I've recently watched Civil War and Winter Soldier, right, and she was fine in Winter Soldier, like, she was a perfectly serviceable character, but then in Civil War, she was, like, first of all, just whatever, she was just, not annoying, but just a nothing character, and they're doing a good job at taking semi-good characters and making them great, like with all these spin-off shows. But when you take a nothing character and you try to just immediately give them all this attention, it just turns a nothing character into a worse nothing character, because now you're trying to make something from nothing. Does that make sense? She shouldn't have been the power broker. She should have just been maybe working for the power broker. That would have been just as big of a reveal. And the way they revealed it was just awful. Now let's talk about the worst thing they did with her. Had her kill Karli. Should not have happened. It should have been John Walker killing Karli, and then him reflect on it, realizing that maybe that shouldn't be that's a whole John Walker thing. But her killing Karli just has no thematic significance to it. Like, why? They haven't even, like, talked to each other, anything. Like, they had no sort of interaction before that, and it just comes way out of nowhere. It's like, oh, I'll expose you for being the power broker. It's like, what? No, it's just bad. I don't know. There's not much I can talk about Karen. Not much I can talk about Sharon. It's just a very disappointing character, and it's another one of those things where it really shouldn't have been the power broker. Really shouldn't have been. And like I said, it's obvious that they were setting her up for something else in the show, but then that had to be cut. I don't care. Her motives for helping them don't seem to make sense. Like, I guess that she wants to I don't know. It's just so dumb. The power broker twist was very bad. And it's something that they're setting up throughout the whole series. Well, not the whole series, but mainly, But it was just such a badly executed plot twist. So, I don't know. She's just not a character that I'm fond of. Not a character I'm too. I don't normally say this because, like, even with something like WandaVision, where I was like, oh, I'm not super excited to rewatch it, but I'm still interested in what they're gonna do. Something like Sharon Carter, I'm just like, I don't care. I don't want to see her anymore. She didn't. She had plenty of chances, and she kind of botched them all. So, yeah, let's get into I feel like my opinions on John Walker, Captain America, are vastly different from other people. Let's get into that. John Walker, Captain America, played by Wyatt Russell. I don't know why, and this is going to be a long one, so strap in. But I don't know why, but I just have the strangest, like, interest in this character, and, like, really wanted him to be something really good. I don't know, maybe it was because that first scene that he was in, where he was, like, sympathizing with his wife, like, oh my god, the pressures of being Captain America are a lot. And maybe that scene, made me think of all the potential that you could go with this character. So, let's talk about what he is in the show, right? In the show, he's kind of made as the main villain, right? He's kind of made as, like, the main antagonist to our heroes. Like, yeah, Karli and the Flag Smashers, they're a big deal, but it's mainly this guy who's, like, the trouble that they're causing, because he's the one holding the shield when that's the biggest thing that's going on with basically both Bucky and Sam. So he's the perfect foil to these characters. And, throughout the show, you see him slowly, that first scene with him in the locker room showing that, he's human. He understands that being Captain America is going to be hard. But then as the series progresses, you see him become more cocky, more arrogant, more full of himself, more self-entitled, until that one moment where he kills a guy. Whoa, intense. And then he, they take the shield away from him, and then at the season finale, he kind of gets a little bit of a redemption thing where he tries to save the people, but it doesn't work entirely, and then, the real Captain America gets to save the people, which is just, golden. It's really smart. It's really smart is what I'm saying. Now, here's what I wanted from the character. And thinking back on it, they did a good job, but it's like they were so close to doing what I wanted them to do. In the comics, and I haven't fully read any of the original comics that John Walker's in, but in the comics, he's originally like a rival to Captain America. I think he's the Patriot, something like that. And then Captain America ends up, and he works for the government. And then Captain America ends up dying, and then he becomes a new Captain America. And he's doing a fine job. He just kind of takes things a little to the extreme. He has the right ideals, but the morals are kind of messed up. Like, he has the right means to the ends, but not the ends to the means, kind of deal. So, and then these terrorist group end up killing his parents in front of him, and then he just goes on a murder spree, the whole terrorist group. So, in the comic, it's one of those moments where you're like, dude, that's messed up, but you still understand that it's a bad thing, but it's reasonable of why he, as the character, would do that. And they had that moment in this show when they killed off his partner in front of him, and then he went, not on a full murder rampage, just on one guy, and the one guy, that was really smart. I feel like that was perfectly handled. But John Walker's shtick, or maybe how I read it, was that he was never a bad guy. He just, wasn't... It's so hard to describe because he's such an interestingly complex character that would work perfect in this show. That he's not like a bad guy. He wants to be a good Captain America, but he understands that he's not the best Captain America. He's holding the mantle because he knows that without a Captain America, America's in danger of, I don't know, just themselves, I guess. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. But in the show, they just keep painting him as awful, awful, awful. So then redemption at the end, although it's clever how he tries to help and he does, but then the real Captain America comes and saves the day. It doesn't, it's that the redemption itself seemed kind of rushed. It's so hard for me to explain how I wanted John Walker to be because they are so close to doing it right. And I feel like they just made it hate the whole time. One line that I found interesting was when Karli is talking to him, and he's like, he didn't matter to our cause. When he's talking about Lamar Hoskins. And he's like, so you're saying Lamar's life didn't matter? And of course, you could see that as a Black Lives Matter thing, which, I'm sure it does have something to do with that. But it's also interesting how, that right there shows his morals. He didn't want, he's dead. But that's not, it's a bad to him. It's not like, oh, he's just crazy now. When he gets the super soldier serum, he kind of goes, a little bit haywire and stuff. And then the scene where he's like, you did this to me. That's what I wanted. I wanted it to be where I think what I wanted most was where he then went back on the government. Where, Sam could be given the speech at the end and, maybe John Walker start the speech, but then Sam finish it, because he could have realized, oh my gosh, they manufactured a Captain America, which is bad. Like the end, where it says manufactured hero. He could have been like, you manufactured me. You built a Captain America when you can't build a Captain America. You have to be Captain America, something like that. And then that what inspires him to become U.S. agent is that he can still do good, but he doesn't want to be a part of the government when doing it. I don't know that comes across as government bad, but, it just would have worked so much better. John Walker is a really fun character. He's a really interesting one. I mean, after this kind of arc that he goes through in the comics, he's really not all that interesting later on. Obviously, they're setting him up for some kind of Thunderbolts or Dark Avengers thing. I'm happy that he's still here as U.S. Agent. But in the comics, U.S. Agent is not a bad guy. He's not Shadow the Hedgehog Captain America edition. He's still a good guy. So I hope that they keep that. I hope maybe they could do the whole him realizing what he's working for is the bad guy thing with Dark Avengers. So that's all I had to say about John Walker. He is... I still like him as a character because they still did him justice. They still made me, captivate him. I never hated John Walker because I think during the whole show I was just kind of rooting for him to become good, not just rooting for him throughout. But I was just kind of rooting for him in the sense that hopefully he would become good. And they still have a chance. They still have a chance. That's why I'm not overly upset with him like I am with, Sharon Carter or even, Bucky. But, that's... speaking of Captain America, I kind of wanted to give a whole segment just to the new Captain America, just to give my thoughts on that, because I am a huge Captain America fan. So I'll get into that in the next segment. Let's just get on to that. America! Fuck yeah! So this segment kind of goes for the show's handlement of it and just overall, actual in real world, movie-wise. So Sam Wilson as Captain America. I think it fits. It works fine. Looking back on the past movie, because my first thought was, well, when I first saw in Avengers Endgame him give the shield, I was like, oh my god, it's like in the comics. Oh my god, that's so cool. And then I thought, well, would that work in this Marvel universe that they built up? Like, would it make more sense to have Bucky on a thematic level? And I thought they were going to go with White Wolf, so, that's kind of upsetting, but I already talked about that in the Bucky segment. But in the show, how it's, that they're going to end up giving it to him, because that's the whole point of the show, is to give him the shield, to fully give it. And of course, he's not going to go straight into being Captain America. But I like how the show almost makes you think that it may go in an interesting direction. Like, he may not pick up the shield the way that they save it for the finale. I really thought it was going to be half and half. Like, half the show was going to be Falcon and Winter Soldier, the rest was going to be him as Captain America. So in the finale, like, they really do build it up as it's less of get it to Sam and get it away from John Walker. So it does make you think, oh my gosh, what if he does just hold the shield and maybe we get a movie out of it? But then I was like, but if we get a movie out of it, then it's going to be obvious he's Captain America, which is dumb. First of all, the suit. I think this is my favorite Captain America suit. It's something about the white, how it highlights it all. Makes it, like, brighter, I guess. Because, it's Captain America. It's all, fireworks, bright, So I think that the white just emphasizes, I think it's my favorite Captain America suit, in all honesty. But yeah, so the build-up to the show was really nice. The ending finale, the biggest problem with the show, is that when he was fighting Karli, and she said something like, you need to stop this, or like, I won't stop it. He got up, and he said, no, I won't, or something like that, when he should have gotten up, paused, and said, I can do this all day. It was right there! And I know that Marvel Studios is probably already done with that line. They literally made fun of it in Avengers Endgame, so I think that's like it laying to rest. But that would have just been so perfect. And parallels are nice. It's nice, or maybe have him say something like this, like, I got all night, or something like that. Just maybe not the exact quote, but a parallel to where it shows that, hey, this guy's worthy of Captain America. And I don't get that callbacks and references can be annoying, but I don't know, it would have been fun. But he does make a good Captain America. Anthony Mackie himself shows in this show that he's a competent actor and that he can hold like his own, like he can run a series. He can be the lead role rather than just the sidekick. And that really it makes me happy because we are getting Captain America movies again, which, thank God. Like, seeing him do the training scene with the shield, actually, like, during that scene, I was getting hyped, and I was like, oh my god, I would love to see a movie with this guy. And we're getting movies now, which is really good. I know that the whole, Blackton America, that's crazy. And a lot of people are like, well, we need a Captain America that would reflect today's America. And I like that, because where Steve Rogers' Captain America is just straight up Boy Scout, loves not government. He doesn't love government. He loves, he hates bullies, right? And America is like known for being bullied, like the actual country itself. So that, like, it just makes sense. He sticks up for what, he believes is right. And although that seems so basic, yeah, everybody's hero does that. But he also sticks up for what should be right for everyone. So that fits into the American motif. And I like how this new Captain America does, he still does that, but in his own new way. And it does nicely reflect the new America. I'm not saying the new America is black or whatever, or that he needs to be gay or whatever like that. I don't care that he's black. I just care that his morals align with a proper Captain America, but he also brings his own, So I love the new Captain America. I'm really excited to see the movies, just real happy. Real excited. There's one final segment before I get into my thoughts on the whole show. Whole show. And that's just some side characters. So let's really quickly get into that.
Who are you people?
I didn't choose a song for the transition of this because this is going to be so short. Lamar Hoskins. He was interesting. I wish he had more to do, actually. Because his death kind of almost came out of nowhere. Which I get was kind of the point, but like I wish it was more built up with more like emotional value, that we show that they only really had the one scene in the locker room together, which I feel like they should have had more going on. They should have almost been like a parallel to Bucky and Sam, almost in like a weird way. How he didn't get his own poster really annoys me. What the heck is that about? But his death is still done nicely. The Dora Milaje, I don't know any of their names individually. How did they get a character poster? I don't even know her name. I know that she was like in Civil War, whatever. So they were an interesting addition because they just kind of came in, bullied Bucky and Sam in the one scene, and then took Zemo away. You could have just had them as a cameo at like the end. But okay, they're kind of useless. They're nothing. They don't add or take away anything from the show, if you ask me. But I don't really care about that. I think his name is Torres, where he's supposed to be the next Falcon or whatever. Interesting. They had the Power Broker, and of course he's connected to the Power Broker and how he becomes an actual Falcon creature. And I thought they may have set something like that up. Sam does do the whole keep the wings thing at the end, which is a nice little hey. So I'm interested in what they're gonna do with him. They're obviously setting up some sort of Young Avenger. I keep saying they're obviously setting up, but something's happening with Young Avengers, and he's probably gonna be a part of that. It would be cool to see a new Falcon, since there's a new Captain America. So that would be fun to watch. Shoot, I can't even remember her name. The lady who's talking to John Walker. That's interesting. I really hated how they introduced her in like the second to last episode. That was weird. Something with Thunderbolt, something with Dark Avengers. Most of these characters seem like setup. Other than, the first two that I mentioned, most of these characters seem like setup. And if there's any character that I didn't mention, it's because they weren't interesting enough or memorable enough to be in any of these. So, goddamn, we're so far into this. It's time for like my final thoughts on the show, which is probably going to be short because I've been talking too long. I don't even care what I'm wearing or how my hair looks at this point. Final thoughts on the show. I already went into all the kind of stuff about like the relationships within the characters, like the interaction between them, how it's really good. Something I surprisingly failed to mention was all the Isaiah Bradley stuff. I mentioned it in the episode by episode. Y'all maybe about to watch. But I do like how they perfectly transition his story over from the comics. I really like the connection that Sam Wilson has with that story and how he has to kind of like deal with that's how being a Black Captain America is. It's just what comes of it, how it goes. It was really smart. Cleverly handled. Very perfectly handled. I like the end bit where he got a statue in the museum. Speaking of the museum, it was nice. Random thing. It was nice seeing Don Cheadle, Rhodey show up. It was like, it makes the world feel lifting because those people are friends, and so seeing, Sam and Rhodey, they're friends. So seeing him come to like talk to him about it, even just for the cameo, was nice. The cinematography for the whole show was fantastic. Way better than WandaVision. And that's kind of unfair because I feel like it's unfair to compare the show to a show like WandaVision. This show wanted to do something completely different than WandaVision, and it did it really well. On the ranking, it is number 14, right below Doctor Strange. On the TV show ranking, it's number 1, easily above WandaVision. But like I said, it's unfair to compare them. I feel like this is going to be more something that we can compare to like Loki, maybe when that comes out. I don't know. But final thoughts on the show. It's really good. Y'all should watch it. I don't know how y'all made it this far in and haven't watched the show yet. But it's definitely not like something that I would say is like a waste of the MCU, like just something to throw aside. It's really fun. The cinematography, like I said, was really nice. The shots where it like cuts into Bucky's, face up close or whatever. When he's in the therapist room, just stuff like that is just really good. Just, something that I did find annoying was like all the boat stuff. Just, I liked it like when they went to the bank and then stuff with the family. But then whenever they were on that boat, it was nice seeing them bond on the boat, but just working on the boat. I was never really into it. Mainly, maybe it's because in the episode before the finale, they just really focused on that, and I just wanted more action or something. I don't know. Didn't like the boat stuff. Overall, the show's really good. I already gave the ranking for both TV show and MCU overall. Next is Loki. That's going to be fun. Subscribe to the second channel to keep up with that. This video took forever to edit. I'm really hoping it doesn't get any kind of copyright thing on it. It probably is because I don't know. That's why I use the pictures. Sorry about the Kind Master logo in the corner. I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. Thank you guys for watching so much. This is such a fun show to watch. This was a fun video to work on, in all honesty, and I'm looking forward to the future of the MCU. Why did I get all specialty after that? Video over. Not technically, we still got 15 more minutes of episode by episode stuff to do. Thank you guys for watching. Video over. I'm sitting here kind of impromptu. It's like 30 minutes before episode 2 comes out, and I don't even know how I'm going to set up the whatever. So, Episode 1, it's obviously just setting up things. Bucky and Falcon haven't even, Bucky and Wilson haven't even met yet. It's more of obvious setup. Of course, I gotta go over theories. I think the U.S. agent guy, what's his name, John Walker, I think it's gonna be a twist that he was manipulated. Like, he thought he was doing something good, but then he realizes that what he's doing isn't good, because that's kind of his thing in the comics. I don't really want to get into theories right now because that's not fresh on my mind. But episode 1 was fine enough. Like I said, it seems like each episode is going to take a one big action scene approach and then just character, which I'm perfectly fine with that. Sam Wilson stuff was interesting, but I found Bucky's to be more captivating. Maybe just, I never thought I liked Bucky more as a character. We're already getting into the points where it is like, oh my gosh, I'm already starting to enjoy these characters more than in the past MCU stuff. But it left on a good cliffhanger, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of tired. I'm about to watch the second episode. It's been a week since I've seen the last one, so let's get into that. I'm laying in my bed because 4 a.m, tired. So episode 2 was really fun. God, I remember doing this. Okay, so it was a lot better than the first episode. The first episode felt really slow, and like it didn't have a point to it. Like it was just waiting to get to the reveal of the U.S. agent, or the new Captain America. I keep calling him U.S. agent. This episode felt like it had, and it was also a lot more fast paced because of course they're getting into the action, they're getting into the actual meat, the plot. But it still had that thing of one big action piece and then a whole lot of talky parts, as you'd call them in movies, but I really liked that. I like how they're setting up the John Walker. As the episode progressed, it's obviously like, okay, we gotta make him be a dick, which is super annoying because, like I said, I really like, well, I didn't say this, but I do really like this character, and it's almost interesting how they could make a character where he's the new Captain America, and he's so excited to be Captain America, but a lot of people don't like him. They're obviously showing that a lot of people do like him, but it could be two sides of the same coin. Half of America is cool with him, half of America is not, and he is only focused on the negative, which could be just an interesting character. And if he knows that he's not supposed to be Captain America, that could be so cool. And I thought they were going to go that way. It doesn't seem like they are. Isaiah Bradley, he's in that. That was cool. It made sense. And can we talk about how, of course, racism and stuff was going to be handled in the show. A lot of people are really, Black Captain America, that's stupid. And for a lot of times in racism, I guess because I'm used to like Netflix shit, but it's done so awfully, so bad. But in this show, it feels natural. Like, I loved, oh my god, I loved how the kid called him Black Falcon. And he's like, well, my dad says it's Black Falcon. He's like, because I'm black. Are you black, kid? That was such a good, that just moment was just amazing for like, just, I don't know. I'm not even like a big like activist race guy or whatever. I don't know how to describe it, but like that, I liked that a lot. Sam and Bucky seem to be mad at each other for really weird reasons. I don't know. That's kind of weird, but yeah, no, it's just setting up good things to come. That's all I can say. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Alright, so once again, it's like 3 a.m. I didn't check the exact time. Episode 3, I feel like I have less to say about episode 3. I did want something that I even like said out loud to myself while I was watching, is I did like now the new trio aspect of it. I didn't think they're going to go this direction with Zemo. I honestly thought it was going to be like here's setup and then he's going to go off by himself. But I do like the trio of them. They all, it's like how just Falcon and the Winter Soldier have good like chemistry with each other, I guess. Like they work off each other well. Well, Zemo kind of just adds to it. I think that just shows how good of like writers these people are. How they're able to make this entertaining. Now, to immediately backtrack on that, Sharon Carter was kind of iffy. Take her or leave her, honestly. I hope they improve on her character somewhat. She's never really been a character I've been interested in. When it was first revealed she's coming back, I was like, oh, cool. And supposedly she's gonna be a mainstay. I was kind of hoping for more stuff with, the new Captain America, John Walker or whatever, but they just keep painting him more and more of an awful person, which what I really wanted them to do is show that the government was actually, like, he just wanted to be the best Cap he could be, but then turns out the government, then he starts to realize, oh my gosh, I am a pawn of the government. He kind of goes through the same thing that Cap went. That's totally off. That's just what I wanted the show to be. But, this episode, it was fun. It's kind of the first one to not really have any Falcon going on. The wings are never even there. That's not really something to complain about. That's just kind of showing that this was a more character-driven episode. Super interesting to watch the location. Was really interesting. The whole, I don't know, I want to call it like a mob, like gangster. I don't know, that kind of stuff. But that aesthetic was really interesting to see. But from just the ending bit, it seems like this next episode is going to be way more interesting. We're already halfway through the series, guys. We're already halfway through. And I don't know, I don't know what they're going to do with Zemo. How do they get me interested? Zemo is one of the characters that everybody's like, oh, he's so underrated. And I'm just like, he served his purpose in Civil War, and I wasn't ecstatic to see him again. But it's really interesting that they're setting up this Power Breaker character, but we still know nothing about them. We now know that the Power Breaker is the enemy of the Flag Smashers too, now the Flag Smashers also seem to not be good. So basically, you have the Falcon Winter Soldier, now with Zemo. You got Captain America, which he's on his own part. The government seems to be with, the Captain America. Then you got the Flag Smashers and the Power Breaker. So there's all these different set pieces of who's against who's with who's actually doing good. Super interesting. I'm really interested to see what's next. So that's it. Yep. So I'm actually not recording this right after watching the episode, because for the first time I didn't stay up till 3 a.m. to watch it, or 2 a.m. whatever. I actually just got home from like a 3-day vacation. It's Monday, the Monday after, but whatever. Episode 4. Episode 4 is starting to shine on what makes the series really good and what makes it kind of holding it back. It's hard to describe. The main, I don't even remember the girl from the Flag Smashers' name. I can't even remember her name, but she's just not really grown on me. We have 2 episodes left, and I'm still kind of tired of her. I like the situation they're going with, how Sam agrees with her and like her beliefs, but then obviously is like, but you can't do it that way. Like, it's one of those scenarios where, oh, the villain has to be sympathetic. We got to make him sympathetic, but it's actually it actually works, and I'm happy for that. Oh my God, look at that. The whole stuff with the Zemo now went off, not off the deep end, but now he's gone. Sharon Carter is still kind of boring. John Walker is, whoa. The ending, of course, is the biggest talking point of this episode, and how it adapted from the comics correctly. I like that it adapted from that, but it wasn't. It's so weird how it did. I think I'm going to talk more in the actual video, like actual review-ish, but you already saw that. You can see that I'm kind of losing stuff to talk about because it's been a couple days since I've seen the episode. But yeah, no, the episodes honestly have gotten better and better each episode. And it's like, I may have said that with WandaVision, but WandaVision really not dropped the ball at the end, but like kind of peaked in the middle, and I'm really hoping this series just keeps up the steam, because so far every episode has just been better. Like, like if I were to go back to the first episode, I feel like I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much, Anyways, that's it for this episode.
Welcome back to the 3 a.m. saga. Well, actually it's 4 a.m. because this site decided to crash. But anyways, episode 5. So this episode, the main thing that I was thinking throughout, just as I was watching it, is just, this feels like filler, like a filler episode, which is really weird because the series is already only 6 episodes. This is the episode before the finale, so that was really, really worrying me, because WandaVision also kind of dropped the ball in their last couple of episodes. So, and I'm not. Of course, I'm excited for the finale because I do think at the end, of course, they had the whole setup, and I'll get into that in a minute. Starting from the beginning, they immediately got the shield back, which was nice. John Walker, when I make the full video, I'm going to discuss how they kind of botched his character, and it sucks even more because they're right there at getting having him be a good, compelling character that you can root for, but also not like. It's a hard thing to do, and they're right there, but they still messed it up. So that's something I'll talk about more later. Talking about him, we finally got a post-credit scene, and it's him making a new shield, which gets me really, really excited because I was really hoping that they were going to keep him as a superhero, as a U.S. agent, of course. Maybe not working for the government, but just as I don't want him to just be something of the past. I want him to continue on, as weird as it may sound. Zemo seems to be no more. They obviously, shut that down, as that's the end of that, whole arc. Seeing Sam throw the shield and stuff around actually kind of got me hyped, and I was like, if I keep rubbing my eyes, it's because I have the flash on, but I was like, oh my god, I'm kind of excited for this. That would be, I'm excited to see the finale now. The race stuff was really heavy, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing, it just came across as, in the writer's room, they're like, oh, we still got so much to say about this. Boom, let's shove it all into one episode. That's how it came across. When I say it felt like a filler episode, I just felt like there was a whole lot of nothing going on. Mainly with the boat stuff, and I get that that's important for, character development and all, but it just, I don't know, I'm just not really interested in it. Back to the racial stuff, I like how they did do Isaiah Bradley's story, authentic. That's exactly what happened in the comics. Speaking of comics, they introduced a new character, the Val character. We got one episode left. Why are you still introducing characters? And apparently he's going to play a big role. She may be someone from the comics. Sounds familiar, but I don't know. Why are you introducing characters this late? Agent 13 still hasn't done anything, and I feel like it may be because they cut her stuff out. I don't know. This was a serviceable episode. The beginning and end were really strong, and the beginning just was nothing for me. It was a whole lot of nothing. I'm excited for the last episode. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's probably the longest review over I've done, so yeah. So you just watch the finale. I really want to go to bed, so I'm not going to say a whole lot about it, because I'm mainly going to be talking about the finale and the whole retrospective things I've already watched. But it's all the things that were not good about the show were just made worse. First thing I want to talk about is Agent 13 being the power broker. That's literally the Mephisto move of the show. Literally so much so that that the fans were like, she's not the power broker. She can't be the power broker. It just wouldn't. The after credit scenes set up her to be something bigger. I'm sure Secret Invasion, something like that. So that's cool, I guess. I didn't really like her in this, so maybe she'll be better later on. I don't know. Seeing him, let's talk about, Captain America. I like how at the end they call it Captain America and the Winter Soldier. It's already a movie. It's kind of funny. But no, I like him. I like it. I like the speech he gave. I mean, it was obviously really hammy, but I do like how what people were saying, it's the new Captain America reflects the new America. I don't know, it's good. Bucky got his resolve, which was nice. John Walker is U.S. agent. Let's go. I really thought they were going to kill him off instead of Karli. I'm happy they killed Karli off. I really didn't like her. I talked about that earlier. But yeah, no, they kept him as U.S. agent. I'm just yes. They're obviously setting up Thunderbolts or Dark Avengers, obviously. But yes, U.S. agent. Yes, that's cool. Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about this one. Like I said, I probably already talked about it, but it was good. I like him as Captain America. I really hope they capitalize on this and give him movies, because how are you gonna have Captain America without movies? I don't know. He has the potential to be good enough for movies. I'm not saying he's only good for shows or only good as a side character, but this new age, this new wave of Captain America type villains that they're introducing, i.e. U.S. Agent, John Walker, Flag Smashers, the more thought-provoking ones, I guess, rather than just Red Skull government, So it could be interesting. I really hope, I'm kind of not even giving first impressions, but the episode was good. The action, I thought it was going to be bigger. Like, I was expecting more, like a whole terrorist, like, shutdown of the city. But, I don't know, it really didn't happen. It wasn't even a situation of me getting my hopes up. It was just kind of a little less than I thought, which that's okay. But, yeah, it's good. Review is coming out as soon as possible, I guess. I don't know.